people on our stuff being like, all both sides bad. It's like, it's not so much that you're just like both sides bad or one side's better than the other. It's like, what are you trying to do and how are they helping? It's like, what, you're going to spend your whole life fucking campaigning for some guy? So what? Like, imagine you thought that liberal stuff's, your whole thing, what did conservatives really do to help you in the last 5 years? Like, they got rid of abortions, I guess, and they, so they helped to kind of get rid of abortions. And they are fighting a lot of stuff about curriculums in schools. Yeah. So if you're a mother or maybe kind of like a dad that your family's your whole thing, good. But if you're a dude that's trying to accomplish, they're not helping you.
No, they're not helping you at all. No, they're not. Yeah. You need to tune that shit. I mean, so many of my friends who are successful have no idea about any of the shit we're talking about.
What?
So many of my friends who are successful don't know any of this shit. They don't know what's going on with CRT and stuff.
I know a lot of successful people that kind of.
I'm saying they do, but I'm saying it's like you don't need to know about this stuff to if you have a very singular drive and you're trying to build a business or something, for example. You're like what the fuck do I care about?
You need to make yourself bulletproof, man, and your brain too. If you end up in a scenario where your brain is so easily accessible to the world events. Then you're fucking useless.
Yeah.
You go, some bill passed and it's ruining your day or more importantly, ruining the way your life operates. You've left yourself too vulnerable.
Yeah. I mean, think about an even worse scenario. We were kind of talking about it, but imagine you live in a country and then not America and then a bill passes in America and now that ruined your life.
You're vulnerable.
You're just it doesn't even affect you, and you're allowing that to fucking torpedo your shit.
No, yeah. And if you live like that, go ahead. It's not, no one that I remember they were doing Silicon Valley, I don't know who it was, if it was, not a Tony Robbins, but whatever. They're doing this conference and it was kind of early 2015 and the guy stood up and he was like, well, what do I do about the fact that I'm or maybe a black woman in this industry and it's racist? And he goes, and the guy just said, he was like, listen, I'm not saying that you don't have any struggles or anything, but he goes, no one that when we meet again in 2 years and the people that are at the top 1%, none of them are going to talk about that. None of them think like that.
Yeah.
He goes, no one that's winning thinks like that. I'm not saying that people don't. I bet you a lot of the people that the Will Smiths of the world, I bet you a guy like that or The Rock might come out and say he thinks like that, but he doesn't actually.
No, he doesn't actually. No,
you know what I mean? He might pretend he thinks like that to get things, but he don't actually think like that.
No,
where
these are low level games.
Some victim.
These are very.
Oh, good way to put it.
Yeah, these are very low level games. These are not high level games.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
They're all, and that's the same thing we're talking about with the money. It's like don't waste your time on fucking low level games. Put a value on a game, and then
Yeah,
very
low level games.
It is a low level game, so that's a good description of it. So I mean, I think that a lot of people, however, they end up in a scenario where it kind of makes them think about things a little differently, and then sometimes you go through a phase where it makes you too much of that. You know what I mean? And then you kind of...
Yeah, you got to course correct. I mean,
and you course correct.
I mean, how many times have we saw someone gets some idea with something and then that's their whole identity 6 months later. And then 6 months after that, they're just lost because that's not the good identity to have anymore.
And sometimes it's just a psychopath, but sometimes it's the type of person that's sometimes that type of person is the type of person that is young and hungry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're I'm going to do this and you're all in and, you go, you do that a few times and you kind of have more boundaries on what you get sucked into or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I think that that the negatives of him specifically, his life, or you go, first of all, it works better in Romania because those girls are way more sheltered from what's around them. So it's if you're in obviously anything where you're my woman doesn't do this, my woman doesn't do this, obviously works better in a place where the girls aren't, didn't go to college in fucking North America or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's culturally obviously different there.
Yeah. And then also, if you have a bunch of girls, I think a lot of guys the idea of I have kind of two main chicks. And they're no matter how you slice it, that shit takes time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you know what? Again, he obviously approaches that stuff with that like from the, he's not dicking around, because a lot of people will like get a girlfriend and then try and be like, hey, what about this?
Yeah.
And then she's like, wait, what do you mean what about? Like, he starts from the get-go. He goes, this is the deal.
For sure.
Right, which is obviously way easier. Like,
but that depends on your personality. Like, do you care about people's emotions? Like, one of the reasons I keep my circles small is because I do really care about people's emotions. Like, if I have a girl like that's in my life, like, it's impossible for me to not care if she's like upset. You know what I mean?
It's like literally sociopathic or something.
But the more you are of that, the easier it is to like manage 10 girls. Like, you know what I mean?
Of course.
If you are someone that's like very, and you kind of, where that's something I realized about myself, it's way more for me about how to like manage the amount of people whose like emotions can infect me, more so than like trying to change that about me, that I just don't care about like the way that people are affected,
Yeah. I mean, that's not a strategy to be like, I just can't give a shit about anybody.
Some people don't probably that much.
For sure they don't. Yeah.
And it sometimes makes you a better boss. Like, it can be a better, it can be a positive and a negative, It makes you probably less likable on a person basis. It may not make you worse at other things. I think it makes you better at a comedian when you're in tune with emotions, but I think it makes you, it's also, leaves you fucking vulnerable. You got all this shit to worry about, and it adds to it, right?
Yeah.
And then also the most important thing of all that shit is the dark side of that is the fucking sex addiction stuff, where it's like, the more you fucking, attach like crushing pussy to you winning, the more that can just take over. So then you have to like, you have to be
that's not the best North Star in your life to be like, that's the one thing you're.
But it's hard to do that because like you have a guy that's like, a lot of these people, it's like, which obviously they're all good. It's like, get rich, get successful, get pussy, get all like, but the easiest one to crack first is get pussy.
Yeah.
So you get people being like, all right, the rich thing's not going that good, this thing's not going that good, but I'm getting a lot of pussy, so I'll keep just winning at the one I'm winning at.
For sure.
And then you just like, the truth is, like, there's a lot of broke guys getting lots of pussy, right?
Yeah, because they go, I'm a DJ, and they go,
whatever it is.
Well,
yeah.
But I'm
Any
saying
identity,
they're not successful at it.
No, any identity.
Yeah. I mean, even how many like fucking just like
low-level comics.
Yeah, low-level comics. Exactly. I'm a comedian, and they
right.
go, that's
so I think that I think that a lot of times that's maybe, who knows? I don't like listen to this guy's stuff enough to know that maybe he says some of this stuff, but there is that where it's a lot of times you're like, hey, these are all the things that I want to get great at to be like a great guy, like to have the life that I want. One of them's really easy, so all you do is just keep hammering that one down.
yeah.
Dude, you know how easy it is to be like, okay, well, I know how to get one win today. It's like bang that hot chick.
Yeah, that's gonna get old. Not fast, but it'll get. If that's your one.
It just doesn't
singular desire. Yeah, you're gonna just. It doesn't
solve the overall problem of having a better life.
Yeah.
So. Well, that's kind of my whole take on all that shit. I feel like that
I think I'm gonna actually sign up and get my master's from my MBA. Would you imagine you go to a doctor, like a therapist, or like even like a fucking just like, a surgeon?
He's the best.
He goes fucking PhD or
I thought
doctor
the best
from
one,
Hustlers University.
No, a guy that does his bachelor's from PragerU. Now he's going to do his master's at Hustlers U.
That would be the best fucking resume. I see here you completed a 4-year degree from PragerU and 2 years from master's from Hustlers University. Very impressive. Very impressive. Very impressive.
Is there any other university?
Are you going to take your sunglasses off for this interview or no?
No.
Oh, I've never been called a bitch before in an interview. That's new.
Get rich. Yeah, that's great.
Should we do that as maybe like a Patreon thing? We'll watch every Hustlers University video. Because
No.
it's just all videos.
No, we're not much.
I don't think there's any documents.
Dude, a lot of that shit is stuff that you're just like, a lot of dudes are talking shit. I remember the band days. It's like, of course. Yeah. You're just like, it's like, yeah, the girls say stuff and you're just like, they can say it all they want. The eye roll. You know what I mean?
Of course.
It's all that thing where like every, dating podcast or like give girls, dudes advice how to manipulate women. Like at let's say if you're looking at it that way. And then girl advice is like what guys should want.
Yeah.
Dude, every guy podcast is like, you shouldn't fuck. Every girl podcast is like, you should just walk in there and be a slut and be fat. And you're just like, yeah, everyone hates that, but like whatever.
Yeah,
it's like
enjoy dying alone.
Well, how many stuff is girls being like, guys shouldn't care if we banged everyone? And it's like, okay, well, most of us do, so I don't know what to do to tell you. Not really sure what to tell you here. I do.
Yeah, they do.
And they do.
I mean, a lot of girls care if guys do too.
They don't. No,
not
they
to
don't.
the same degree, but No, I mean the numbers probably.
They might
not the same.
say they care. They don't care.
Yeah.
I think the only way that is a girl that's like just dated a bunch of guys that were all like pimps.
Yeah.
And those guys like her experience was like just nonstop, getting treated bad and cheated on, all that sort of stuff. And she's so over that it's a nice change to date someone that like wasn't that again. So in that specific case, she's like, yeah, I'm not looking for a guy. Only guy.
She ties that to that guy.
Well, she's looking for a guy that she can control more because she's just so over that. And then that'll probably get old for her too.
Yeah, we all want someone we can control more.
Girls don't, dude. The more like if you give them too much control, they fucking doesn't like you. They don't actually want that. Really, they think they do.
They think they do. Some do.
Yeah.
But yeah. What do you think about because I know I love my Andrew Tate. The funniest thing is the forehead thing or whatever. The girl's numbers on the forehead. You know at Carney's how they have the guess your weight. What about at a carnival where it goes guess your number? It's like a guy like Andrew Tate was smoking a cigar. Goes,
yeah,
212. And she's like
212, 40 black, 80 white.
Yeah, Migsy goes 7 girls, nice.
yeah.
This guy's, and then the guy goes, well, he goes, yeah. He goes, God, this guy's good.
That's a good sketch. Some nun walks by, 190. She goes,
oh.
Her husband's there.
She's got fucking like sexy lingerie on underneath the nun outfit.
Yeah, exactly.